Once upon a time, there was a king. He was a genuinely kind soul. But if we're being honest, he wasn't exactly a strategic genius. And his royal advisors? Well, they were mostly just good at collecting their paychecks, nodding along, and telling him exactly what he wanted to hear. Our king was getting pretty tired of it all. He desperately needed some genuinely smart people to help him run his kingdom better. One day, needing a break from all the stuffy palace life, the king went for a ride in the quiet forest. And there he saw him, a man talking to himself, looking like he'd completely lost his mind. Naturally, the king, being the curious type, rode closer. "Are you all right there, friend?" the king asked gently. And this guy, without missing a beat, looked the king dead in the eye and fired back. "All right, you're the one who's crazy, king. You and your people. Me? I'm gonna chop down this whole forest, build a massive palace, and become king myself." The king's advisors, who were with him, nearly fell off their horses. Was this fella completely unhinged? Or was there some unbelievable cleverness hiding beneath all that wild talk? They just couldn't figure him out. Now, these advisors were a bit jealous and worried about their own comfortable positions. So they hatched a plan. Let's bring this madman back to the palace. He'll be harmless there. But on the way, something truly wild happened. The man suddenly yanked his horse in a totally different direction, like he was trying to escape. The king and his guards had no choice but to follow. When they finally got to the palace, there was a huge party going on. Turns out the king's usual route back home was actually ambushed by a massive enemy army. This madman's crazy swerve had, by pure dumb luck, led them to safety, saving the king's life. The king was absolutely stunned. He thought, wow, maybe this guy isn't so mad after all. He even gave him a special seat right by his side, keeping him close. Of course, the other advisors were freaking out. This madman was becoming way too popular. So the man, bless his innocent heart, believed them. He walked right up to the king, and smack! He slapped the king so hard his crown went flying. But guess what was hiding right there, underneath the crown? A deadly scorpion. The king was completely floored. That crazy slap had saved his life again. Overjoyed, he gave the man a fancy palace and threw him a huge celebration. Still, those advisors just wouldn't give up. Another tradition, they told the man, trying one last trick. When the king sits down, you pull his chair out from under him. You'll get half the kingdom. So when the king went to sit, the man pulled the chair. The king stumbled, but thankfully managed to catch himself just in time. And then they saw it. One of the chair legs was already broken. If the man hadn't pulled the chair, the king would have taken a nasty fall and likely gotten hurt. For the third time, this madman had somehow prevented a disaster The king, now completely convinced of his unique abilities, made him the general of his army. Desperate, those sneaky advisors actually teamed up with an enemy king to start a war, hoping their mad general would get wiped out in battle. But during the biggest fight, the general stepped forward to face the enemy king himself. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a huge, roaring lion attacked the enemy king. And what did our mad general do? He bravely fought and killed the lion, saving the enemy king's life. The enemy king was so overwhelmed with gratitude that he called off the war and even ordered his own plotting advisors to be arrested. But get this, our mad general, showing just how genuinely good his heart was, actually stepped in and saved even them. His courage and honesty won over absolutely everyone. The king was so amazed by him that he married him to his daughter, bringing peace and uniting the two kingdoms for good. You know, an old, wise advisor in the king's court summed it up perfectly. He said this man's incredible luck and success wasn't just random. It was like fate was on his side, because he had such a pure heart and a unique spirit. He told everyone, don't ever be jealous of someone else's good fortune. You never know if it's because they worked hard, got a lucky break, or maybe even had a little divine help. But remember this, being honest and true to yourself, that always wins in the end.